Good morning, students. Today I'm here with the second part of The Sound of Music. It discusses another musician. This time it is Ustad Bismillah Khan, a well-known Shehnai master. He is being credited with bringing Shehnai to the forefront of classical music. Earlier it was supposed to be a lowly temple instrument to be played during sacred occasions like marriage or at festivals, but he provided Shehnai a classical stage, and in the process he gained a lot of name and fame. He won almost all the civilian awards, not almost, he definitely won all the awards, civilian awards that is bestowed upon by the government of India, and he got lots of name and fame all around the world. Auditoriums have been dedicated to his name, and statues of him have been erected in several countries, including Afghanistan, Iran. He was that popular, and he made a simple instrument like Shehnai this popular. Despite that, he stayed a simple man, led a very simple life outside a temple in Benares. Although he hailed from Bihar, he spent most of his life in Benares. So let's figure out about him and a bit of Shehnai. Now these are a few prominent musicians who have played unconventional music and brought them to the forefront. Instruments like sarod, a flute, or a tabla, these are all background instruments. They were supporting instruments to other vocalists or other musicians. But there are these people, Pandit Hari Prasad Chaurasia, Ustad Amjad Ali Khan, and Ustad Zakir Hussain. These people have brought these so-called background instruments into the forefront of classical stage. So that's why they are considered great, and their contribution was immense. If we go by for the history of Shehnai, Emperor Aurangzeb had banned the playing of the musical instrument called pungi in the royal residence because it had shrill, unpleasant sound. A barber of the family of professional musicians decided to improve the tonal quantity of pungi. He played the improved instrument before royalty, and everyone was impressed. What he did was he took a rigid instrument, but he had the pipe, the frontal pipe, a bit longer and broader and a bit heavier. He put some brass metals at the front opening, thereby making it heavier. The tone that was played was very melodious, and everybody was impressed in the royalty. The instrument had to be given a new name. As story goes, since it was first played in the Shah's chamber and was played by a nai, which is the Hindustani word for barber, the instrument was named as Shehnai. Played in front of Shah by a nai. You see the two instruments, a pungi and the improved version of pungi, that's a Shehnai just next to it. You see metal bars at the front of it, thereby, and the pipe is way longer compared to one of pungi. Pungi has different versions and different variations. It has different names. One of the version popular in Bihar is called Been, which mainly the snake charmers carry along with them. Ustad Bismillah Khan brought Shehnai to the classical stage. That is his contribution. The sound of Shehnai began to be considered auspicious, slowly and gradually. It was adopted by the Hindu faith, and for this reason it is still played in temples and is an inseparable component of any North Indian wedding. So that's how Shehnai was adopted by the Hindu faith, and it was played in Hindu temples. It is still played, and it is still played in North Indian weddings in particular. Even South Indian weddings, we see the influence of Shehnai over there. In the past, Shehnai was part of the Naubat, or traditional ensemble of 9 instruments found in royal courts. The credit goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan. 9 instruments included drums of various shapes and sizes and other instruments. Total 9 instruments. They formed a Naubat, Nau as in 9, and ensemble, a group of 9 on Naubat. and they were played in royal courts. Now let's talk a little bit about Bismillah Khan. Bismillah belongs to a well-known family of musicians from Bihar. His grandfather and other paternal ancestors were also great Shehnai players. Bismillah was fascinated at watching his uncles practice the Shehnai. He started accompanying his uncle Ali Baksh, and slowly he started getting lessons in playing the instrument and would sit practicing throughout the day. The flowing waters of Ganga inspired him to put together and create ragas that were earlier considered to be beyond the range of Shehnai. Now you see, that is very important point. How did he change the classification of Shehnai as an ordinary temple instrument to a classical stage instrument where people would pay money to listen to Shehnai, which they could do for free standing at a temple? Because he played ragas which were earlier considered impossible to play it on a Shehnai. The kind of improvisation he shot was incredible, and it uplifted the status of Shehnai itself. So that's what made him great. He did not just play a musical instrument, he improvised it in such a way that the instrument got a raise in stature. With the opening of All India Radio in Lucknow in 1938 came Bismillah's big break. He soon became an often heard Shehnai player on the radio. Now, how did Bismillah Khan gain popularity? That would be a question that is often asked. So he got exposure to public, or public got a chance to listen to the music of Bismillah Khan once All India Radio started functioning from Lucknow. You see the logo of All India Radio over here on the right side of your screen, and you can see an old-fashioned radio at the central part of the slide. I don't know how many of you have actually seen a radio, but it was a very common thing when we were children. And we are talking about 1938, when radio was supposed to be the only source of entertainment for people. Household entertainment, that is. And not many households had a radio. That's another concept altogether. Anyway, so he became an often heard player. He became very popular on the radio. People started following him, and he became very popular. And see, within 9 years, he was so popular that in 1947, he became the first Indian to greet Indian independence with his Shehnai recital. He played Rag Kafi from the ramparts of Red Fort, and thereby he became a privileged musician. Shehnai is auspicious for Indian tradition, and independence of India being the most auspicious of them, obviously he was chosen, being the best Shehnai player. Film director Vijay Bhatt was so impressed after hearing him play at a festival that he named the film after the instrument called Goonj Uthi Shehnai. You can see a poster of that movie, and you can see the lead cast, image of the lead cast in between, and the gentleman on the right is Vijay Bhatt. He is the grandfather of another producer director who works in Hindi film industry. So he got a chance to direct a music of a movie. Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to be invited to perform at the prestigious Lincoln Center Hall in USA. See, you can see an image of percussion ensemble at Lincoln Practice Hall. That's an image you can understand it's very prestigious, and percussionists were invited, and in this case a musician was invited to perform. National awards like the Padma Shri, the Padma Bhushan, the Padma Vibhushan were conferred on him. You can see all the three awards in the image, and these are supposed to be the highest civilian awards in Indian cricket. Padma Bhushan being the first one, followed by Padma Shri is being the first one, followed by Padma Bhushan and Padma Vibhushan, and the highest being Bharat Ratna. So he won that also. So that makes his list clear of having won all the highest and civilian awards that an Indian citizen could achieve. In 2011, he was awarded with India's highest civilian award, the Bharat Ratna. Despite travelling so many countries, he was exceedingly fond of Benares and Dumrao. Dumrao is close to Ara, which is not very far from Patna. So you can visit Dumrao. This is the temple where he sang those Chaita songs and won a laddu as a prize or as a reward. So this would be all about Bismillah Khan. A few other facts that you may know: that he loved India and Benares so much that he refused to start a music school or be a head of a music school in America, because he couldn't stay away from Benares for a considerable period of time, and Ganga, of course. And his message when he won the Bharat Ratna in 2011 was that Indians should never follow their culture and traditions, and that's the only way they could become great. So he is an example of epitome of being an Indian and loving everything that is Indian and a part of Indian culture. His faith, his profession doesn't deter him from that, and he lives as a great example of a great statesman India ever produced. Well, till we meet again in our next video, I'll take a leave. You stay safe and take good care of yourselves.